Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Mallory's Weird World Adventures, the podcast. I'm your host, Mallory, and I'm here to show you just how weird this world of ours really is. And as I mentioned last week, we are all still recovering from ECAD, the Explorers Club annual dinner. And in lieu of that, and basically moving forward from ECAD, I would like to do a series highlighting people in the Explorers Club and our experiences at ECAD because it's such an incredible experience every single year. And with that, I have my friend Trent Alves here with me. And Trent recently joined the Explorers Club and did his own expedition this year, was a part of an expedition this year. And before I ask you all these wonderful questions, Trent, I have to say that last year for ECAD, I met Trent and his friend Zach, and they were not members at the time. And you were so eager and excited to be at the Explorers Club annual dinner weekend. And it brought me so much joy because that was me a few years back, right? Just the first time you're there. And I'm so excited to be here and look at all these incredible people in exploration. And that goes a long way. And I'm so happy and like proud and excited to see that, a year later, here you are in the club and you're already moving things. So
Well,
welcome.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been quite a whirlwind of the past couple of years. Um, yeah, I still can't even fathom that I'm a part of such a cool group of people. Uh, the Explorers Club has been a group that I've known about for a good portion of my life, and up until a couple of years ago, it always kind of felt like this untangible thing. Like I could never get inside there, and whatever. And whatnot, and met a got a pretty lucky and met a few people that really wanted to show me the club, and I got pretty lucky about that. So I'm very, very excited to be a part of it.
So tell me about your first experience, I guess, last year coming into ECAD weekend and how you got invited. I think it was through Dakota Bailey, our mutual friend, and kind of how that came to be, I guess.
Yeah, so last year, I have been attending. There's a club in Los Angeles called the Adventurers Club, and I have been attending it. It's very similar to the Explorers Club. Every Thursday they have a dinner, and they have somebody who is giving a lecture about their travels. And one of the dinners, and this was, I want to say, later March last year, I sat next to Dakota, and this is the first time I've ever met her, and we got to talking, and she's an Egyptologist. I'm an archaeologist, so we kind of have some crossroads there. And she's like, "Have you met Steve Elkins?" And I have known who Steve Elkins is for quite some time. He is featured heavily in a book called the Lost City of the Monkey God, which was one of my favorite books growing up. It was one of my really big inspirations to get into archaeology, as well as Indiana Jones, and I feel like that's kind of par for the course for a lot of other archaeologists. But yeah, she was super awesome. Was telling me all about the Explorers Club, and then kind of forced me. She's like, "You're gonna go meet Steve Elkins," and she brought me over and got to talking with Steve. And both Dakota and Steve had said you should come out to New York um, in a couple of weeks for the Explorers Club annual dinner. And I was like, "Okay, okay, all right, I can be there." And I that night bought a ticket, and I had asked my parents because I'm a broke college kid. I'm like, "Can you please help me out? Like I'm really trying to go out there." And I got somebody who lived, my mom's old coworker who lives in New Jersey. They let us stay at their place. So we went, and it was such an awesome experience. And both Steve and Dakota were not really certain that I'd show up. So when I pulled up at the club, they were, "Oh, you're here. Awesome. Great. Let's show you around." And from then on, it's been great.
I have to say that's the mark. Someone has told me this in the past. I think it might have been Steve Elkins, that's the mark of a true explorer. The fact that you acted immediately and just, okay, I'm going to do it. I mean, there's a lot of people that would just be like, well, I can't go to New York in 2 weeks. And most people would just dismiss it, but it was important enough to you. And also, you're obviously the kind of person that acts. So that makes a good explorer. My first ECAD, I definitely accidentally snuck into the VIP lunch at one of those big clubs. And Steve found out, and I'm like, oh man, he's gonna give me, I'm gonna get in trouble because here Steve is finding out that Mallory's in this VIP dinner she's not supposed to be in her lunch. And he was like, I'm so proud of you. That's what explorers do. They just walk in doors that they're not sure they're supposed to be in and go for it. And it stuck with me. And I see that in you. And that, I mean, that's just a perfect example right there that you just got up and did it.
Yeah. Definitely glad I did. I love New York. New York's a great place, and the club really feels homey, even though I've only been there for 2 years. And I'm very, very glad I just decided to go for it.
Hmm.
I'm very impulsive,
Hmm.
and so that definitely shows to that. And so I hope to continue to be able to do stuff like that. It's very
Hmm.
awesome.
So tell me about, I guess, your journey into the club. So how from this point did you join the Explorers Club?
For the first year, I kind of went in very bright-eyed. I'm still very bright-eyed. I love just talking with everybody and anybody. Even people that are not in archaeology. I think just hearing everybody's experiences in every field is such an awesome thing. But first year, I really went in being like, okay, I'm just going to make as many friends as possible. And I was fortunate enough to meet you and Dakota and got to meet a lot of friends. And I got to talking with Steve, and Steve had just offered, well, you need to join the Explorers Club. And I had no idea what that looked like. I thought that was really only for accomplished explorers, people that have done stuff. And so I kind of hesitated, and I was like, well, I don't really have experience yet. I'm just a college kid. But at some point, I had just filled out the application, and I really wrote a really good piece, I think, about what it means to be an explorer. And I had sent it over to Steve, and Steve was really impressed with it. Thank God. And he wrote such a nice recommendation letter, and soon enough, I got in. And
Yeah.
I got in, I think it was November
Hmm.
when they announced it. So not even done a full year yet, but student member. So let's go. Very awesome. But yeah, I just again, like you said, it was just one of those things that you just do. Like I
Hmm.
didn't even really think about it. I was just like, I want to get this, and I'm gonna throw it out the wall and see if it sticks. And luckily enough, it did. It did
Hmm.
stick.
And you've already been on an expedition too. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah. So again, Steve, oh goodness. So I went on this expedition, and I'll get into that in a second, in end of September, early October last year. And about August of last year, I still remember this phone call. It was like 8 in the morning, and I was still sleeping. And I get a call from Steve Elkins. So, wake up. Oh goodness, what is he calling me for? Oh goodness, oh goodness. Try to sound like I'm not still half asleep, and voice drops a little bit. Yes, hello, how are you? He goes, Trent, I know you're in archaeology, and I have this person I want you to meet and reach out to because I think you'd have such an awesome experience. And that person was Trevor Wallace, who is also a member of the club, and he was the president or vice president of research and education. And I
Mhm.
know he just got a new role now, and I think he's part of the flag
Mhm.
uh, uh, members. But Trevor Wallace has a field school in Menorca, Spain, and the project's called the Menorca Shipwreck Project, and it is an underwater archaeology field school. So Steve Elkins is telling me about this, and I'm like, I have to do it because
Mhm.
underwater archaeology is such a niche. There's not really a whole lot of opportunities that you can just Google or text and find out about. And
Right.
I've been a scuba diver for dang 10 years now.
Wow.
So a combination of one of my passions of diving and archaeology was just a dream come true. So I had applied for it, and within a week or two, Trevor had gotten my phone call or my phone number, and we had sat down for a meeting and discussed logistics, and I was well on my way to Spain.
That's amazing. What a great opportunity. And I give Steve a lot of credit, and I always say this that he's the perfect person. He runs the SoCal chapter. He's the perfect person to do it because he's very good at knowing each of the members, remembering everyone, what they do, and then connecting people together. He's always been, you should meet this person. You guys would have similar things to talk about. And that's a skill. And most people don't have it, but he is the best person I know at just remembering, marking what people do and connecting people together. And I mean, it changes people's lives. And I've always respected him for that.
Oh yeah. He yeah, he's even admitted he goes, I just love connecting people. And I find that a lot of people in the club love that too, and it's
Hmm.
really such a good trait that a lot of the members of the club have. I never feel like there's even in my short time that there's people that are gatekeeping. There's certain groups. It's just
Yeah.
always like, here, come over here. Let's have a drink. Let's talk. Let's chat. And what do you
Yeah.
like to do? And oh, you need to meet this person. It's really awesome.
99% of people in the club are just so open to meeting people and connecting with people and are interested. And there's people like Joe Rohde who are just legends who are just excited and eager to talk to anyone. And it's
Oh yeah.
so refreshing to see that.
Which I actually got to. Sorry for the podcast people that are listening, but I'm just going to show you. I got this print from
Mhm.
Joe Rohde. He
Wow.
had a talk a little bit ago. It was about his travels in Mongolia,
Hmm.
and he was just painting and staying in yurts and whatnot, and it's just such a cool talk. And it started initially out as uh, an art expedition. He just went out and wanted to just really paint the
Hmm.
scenery out there, but it turned into, as a lot of stories do, it turned into something else where he got wind of a lot of the farmers who were talking about snow leopards,
Hmm.
and he had gotten.
I will say while you're looking at that, the first time I met Joe Rohde was at it was a Christmas dinner gathering, like a potluck we did at the Adventurers Club for the Explorers Club, my first year in. And I came out and we all had to stand and say a little bit about what we did. And, I'm like the weird penguin girl, like, well, I do, anthropology, specializing in mythology, occult studies, weird stuff. And it resonates very well at the Explorers Club, I guess. I say that. And then Joe Rohde just comes over, like, we have to talk, and is like just so excited to talk to me about all this stuff. And I have no idea who he is. I'm like a bad anthropologist, I guess, because I don't know who he is. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And we have this great conversation. And then fast forward to ECAD the next year, and Dakota's like, I really want to meet Joe Rohde. I'm just so excited. He's here. And she's like fangirling about him and telling me all about him. And then when we see him in the club, she's like, that's him. I'm like, oh, I talked to that guy at Christmas.
Yeah, Joe is a very interesting character in such a good way. I love his art. I've had the pleasure of having a couple of conversations with him, and both times he was very busy, and every single time he's such a personable guy. He's such a big figure in the club and a big
Mhm.
figure just in the world of art and everything. And so seeing him really take the his time out of his own day to just have a conversation with some random kid was
Mhm.
really awesome.
Mhm.
Um, and we got to talking about art and other just anthropological stuff, especially like in South America and whatnot. But
Mhm.
he is just an awesome dude. Cool earrings too.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So you need to tell me about your expedition a little bit more too, if whatever you're allowed to talk about, I guess.
Oh yeah. I I don't know what is published fully, so I will just give you like the rundown because I don't want to get in
Tease
trouble or
everybody.
get
They can look
anybody
it
else
up
in trouble.
later.
Yeah. Um, but it was a 2 week expedition for me at least. They run the field school in intervals. I think there's three groups,
Hmm.
so 6 weeks in total for the crew, but 2 weeks for the field school attendees. But this year was different because they had a wonderful uh, uh, dive master, and he's a retired Marine colonel, I believe. I'm getting my journal real quick, just also
Yeah,
I can look at all
absolutely.
this. So yeah, it was a 2 week excursion for me, 6 weeks for the crew, I believe. I believe they do it in three groups, and it's just to like separate the field school for other people that want to attend. But this year they had a gentleman. His name's Mark Langevin. Uh, awesome, awesome guy. He's a ex-Marine, and he's also a PADI instructor, and he's been scuba diving forever. He's made a career off of scuba diving, and he even has a company in Hawaii. And he actually made a PADI course for the people who attend the field school. And you can also take it, I believe, outside of the field school, but I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me. But it is actually a certification for underwater archaeology. It's exploration
I
diver underwater
saw, I
archaeology.
think Josh posted something about that recently too.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome, awesome things. And I was the first class, a part of the first class, to get certified with that PADI specialty course. So really awesome experience. Uh, one of our family friends has also been a master diver for years and years and years. So I got to flex to him that I
Hmm.
had a certification that he does not have. Um, but the first couple of days we did Mark's course, we got certified, and then it was off to excavating.
Hmm.
Now, we were excavating on one of the Balearic Islands. It's called Minorca, and we
Hmm.
were on Ciutadella. In the old port of Ciutadella, there is just a ton, a ton, and I cannot specify how much archaeological pieces are in this port because the Balearic Islands have thousands of years of history of people who have controlled the island. I mean, you have the Romans, the French, the Spanish, of course, and it's just a melting pot of archaeological pieces.
Hmm.
So our job was to excavate a ship, which was very, very cool. They initially believed it was 18th century,
Hmm.
um, and evidence shows that it could be a little earlier.
Wow.
Don't want to tell you what year because I don't know if that's
Hmm.
published
Hmm.
yet, but we found a lot of really cool pieces, a lot of amphora, amphora 20, I believe, Dressel 20. And I found a bunch of, or not me, but a lot of us found a bunch of teeth from
Wow.
goats, we
Hmm.
believe. Uh, and it was just such a cool experience being able, it's only about a meter and a half, maybe even more. I think 3 meters actually was the deepest.
Hmm.
So shallow dive, awesome visibility for, because apparently last year or 2 years ago, the first time they did it, it super stormy. So we got
Mm.
super lucky with great visibility. But yeah, Trevor Wallace does such a good job of letting everybody know, like, even though it's a field school and I don't have experience, and a lot of the people that join it too, to my understanding, don't have a lot of experience diving, they
Mhm.
also actually certify people who are not
Oh,
scuba
wow.
certified.
Hmm.
So it's a really hands-on experience, which is awesome because I was kind of expecting doing a little bit of excavating, but let the professionals handle it. But
Right.
no, they throw you into it and
Hmm.
they really let you get your money's worth. So that was awesome.
Hmm.
But Trevor is such a encyclopedia for a lot of historical knowledge, and they have organized tiradas or like lessons every night. So they have the crew who are all professionals in their own right. uh, who talk about everything pretty much. And
Mhm.
it was such a good, good grasp of everything. I got a lot of experience and knowledge from that. So
And you got certified in underwater archaeology.
yeah, that was awesome to see on my Patty
Yeah.
uh, dashboard is seeing that one
Yeah.
right there, and also being able to be the first class ever
Hmm.
to be certified under that is super
You'll
awesome.
have that badge forever. That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I swear to you, Josh Gates just posted that. Like the other day. It wasn't you because somebody posted it and I think it was Josh and I was like, what a cool thing to have. And now you said that I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, brand new. Shout out Mark Langeman.
You
Awesome
should tell
guy.
him that you were in the first class to get certified in it.
Yeah. I I definitely that's one of the flexes that even though I
Yeah.
hate flexing things, it's definitely one of the things I'm very proud of. To be able
Yes.
to have that opportunity to do that was such an awesome thing. And actually, one of the crew members who's another Explorers Club member, his name's called Buffalo Joe Watson. There was a competition because Joe wanted to be the first one to get his card, so we all had some fun. Be like, no, Mark, give me the card first. Give me the card first. But I think Joe got his card first, so
But he was the
Joe,
loudest about it.
yeah,
That's how that works. I've
oh
learned
yeah,
that. Yep. Oh man, that's very, very cool. And congratulations.
thank you.
You're welcome. And now I want to transition over to talk about ECAD this year, which I have to say it's the greatest event that I look forward to every single year. It's nothing ever compares to the Explorers Club annual dinner, and it always leaves me excited and inspired, but also feeling so down on myself because I have such imposter complex being around all these incredible people doing incredible things.
Yeah, I feel the same way because very very young in starting into my career, but I've always found it best to just go into a lot of conversations with a very open mind and be curious
Hmm.
and uh don't be so, I guess, just finite about a lot of things. Um don't masquerade certainty with knowledge, don't confuse the two. And I've never had a problem. I'm just starting my junior year in college and I'm having conversations with people who are well accomplished doctors in their own field.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm learning so much. And this is such an awesome, awesome time. Like I'm so glad they're talking to me, because they obviously know so much more than I do. But to me, that doesn't matter. Obviously I still respect them, but
Hmm.
we're all in the same club together for a reason. And even though like we're in different fields, there's still a mutual respect to going, oh yeah, we're still in the same club together. And I really appreciate that from a lot of the people I've had the pleasure of talking with.
It's such a crazy experience. And this year specifically, I met Nina Lanza
Yeah.
and she walked into our so there, I guess I should give the addendum of you always follow the Norwegians at Friday night
Yeah.
party at headquarters because they have a quote unquote secret party. It's a not secret party every year in the Teddy Roosevelt room, right?
I believe so, because there's
Have to
just a
look some
lot of
back
Teddy
into that.
Roosevelt stuff.
Maybe
And
that's why.
yeah. But fun fact for all the listeners, the desk that's in the room is where like the I believe the blueprints and like the plan for the Panama Canal was actually signed. That
Wow.
was the desk that they used. They signed it on. So awesome things. There's a
It
bunch of like random little Easter eggs throughout the club that you could have no idea of its significance, and then you'll just hear somebody talking about it, and kind of look at them like, wait a minute, what?
What? Yeah, I learn stuff every year, and it's a lot of if you don't ask, you'll never know. And we were in that room where the Norwegians have their party every year, and that's where they keep all the good stuff. But they're very welcoming when strangers walk in to take some of their good stuff. They're just like, "Welcome to our party," and we wound up there, and Nina also came in, and we started talking, and she is a total weirdo in the same way that I'm a total weirdo. And we just immediately connected like, we're gonna be besties. You are wonderful. And she carries this like chicken around, like the little rubber chicken that they give out. So like there's three of them, so they can go on expeditions around the world with people and have fun pictures of the chicken. And she gave me one of her chickens, and I was so honored. She's like, "You're the chicken person," and it was a very honoring experience. And we just immediately hit it off. So she kind of became one of our like companions throughout the weekend, and she was like, "I'm so glad I walked into your secret party." I'm like, "Well, it wasn't our secret party. We walked on someone else's secret party, and then you also came in." And there was a point to this somewhere along the line, but I have lost it since. But I met her this ECAD weekend, and that was definitely a highlight because she is just wonderful. And I was actually going back through photos from last year's ECAD, just when I was like, cleaning up my pictures, and she had photobombed a photo that me and Mike had taken with Josh and Candy. And she's just like, ah, like making a ridiculous face on the ground. Like she like jumped in and photobombed. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is you. You photobombed us last year.
Oh yeah.
Kismet. And I think by the end of the first night, it was you and I and Zach and Nina and Nina's friend Kirsten, and then we wound up hanging out with Josh Gates and his girlfriend Candy, and we're both just like, what is happening with our life today? Because we both loved Josh from like different shows back in the day, and like, what is life at this moment? And all this stuff only happens at the Explorers Club, right? Where you have to take a moment to just say, what's happening with my life right now? This is great.
Yeah. I think that was the funniest bit to come out of the weekend was you and I like bumping into each other and just being like, what is happening?
Yes.
And then really just like kind of geeking out together because uh Josh is such a uh what's the word? A really somebody that we both look up to and somebody that he has and especially in his career and what he's accomplished, somebody that we definitely fan over
Yeah, but
and
don't tell him that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lock and key. He doesn't have to know. Um, but that is just such an awesome thing. We're having dinner and we're looking at each other like, holy cow, this is
Yeah.
cool.
And then wind
And
up in a
and
karaoke bar.
yeah, and we end up at a karaoke bar and Nina, this was the first year I've met Nina. I got introduced to her um by my mentor Charlton Shackleton, who
Mhm.
also shout out Charlton, greatly appreciative. I got paired with him through the club's mentorship program. Awesome guy. Really took his time out of his own busy life to hear what I have to say and
Mhm.
whatnot. And he introduced me to Nina. Nina's awesome. She was telling us all about manganese on Mars.
Mhm.
And I know nothing about space. I'm very out of my depth of space, but that was a lot of cool things she got to tell. And I can't remember what song she sang at karaoke, but you, Kirsten, and Nina all just have such an angelic voice.
Oh, thank you.
I do not have any singing experience at all. Uh,
But you
so when
nailed
I
it.
it came to pick a song, yeah, I was like, do I need to should I try hard and sing a song or should I try to pick something that's a little ironic? And I'm still surprised they had this as an option because you had to flip through a book. It wasn't like you could request any song. And they had Tequila by the Champs, so I knew that was the perfect song for me to
Mhm.
sing. And
Yes,
you sang Popular
I did.
from Wicked,
Yes, that's my
and
go-to.
Kirsten sang Adele, I believe. I forgot which
Yes,
song
she
by
did, and
Adele.
she was great. Everybody was
Oh
great.
my goodness.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
And
you guys set the bar way, way high. Oh, holy cow.
I had to go first, and I was so nervous. And it's funny because Jan, who's Josh's like bestie, had told me, you picked Popular, and we were like, well, it's a tough song to sing, but you nailed it. And I was like, really? I feel like maybe it's just written in my register. Like for me, that is like my easy go-to, no stakes. This is my song. I can nail this. And maybe it's just because I have a tiny child voice like Kristen Chenoweth, because Kristen Chenoweth, like, is written for her, or, she was the first one to own that role. And
Yeah.
we sound the same. So I'm like, maybe I just feel safe in that register, but it feels like a safe song to me. I don't know.
That's a safe song to you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You have
Really?
insane range. I sang a song that literally has it only says tequila. That's a safe song for me. So
You know,
yeah.
it's tequila, and I think it was Michael when it started playing, goes, it's the Pee Wee Herman song.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know this song is the Pee Wee Herman song?
I'm sad I didn't do the dance. As soon as I got off the stage, I was like, I didn't even do the Pee Wee Herman dance, like the hands going like
Yeah.
that.
Oh man, that's good. Um, and this year for the gala, I guess so. So Friday night, it always ends. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say this because everything worked out and it was fine. Friday night at the Explorers Club headquarters is always insane. It's packed with people. You meet legends. You're going through, and then it ended at tacos and karaoke. But when the night ended at the club, you, Trent, took the guy with the hat's bullwhip.
Marcos. Yeah.
Marcos. Is that his name? Because we were talking about how
Yes.
we've never known his name because he never tells us. He just goes by Hat Guy and he has tequila.
Yeah.
That's just
If
faithful.
if any of you show up to the Explorers Club, he always has a red fedora,
Uh-huh.
and his name is Marcos. He's an awesome guy. He's into treasure hunting. And he gives out tequila. He's an awesome, cool cat. He has very good style. But he had a bullwhip this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
And
somebody wound up in 70th Avenue in the middle of the street, cracking that bullwhip.
yeah. I uh sorry, Kevin. Uh that is my fault. And Marcos, I had told him because I love bullwhips. I have two. They're very, very fun to crack. And I had told Marcos, I'm like, hey, can I crack it? He's like, no, I don't want to get in trouble. And I looked at him, I'm like, hey, I will take full responsibility if you get in trouble. I won't even drop your name. I'll say it's my bullwhip. I just want to crack it. I'm like, let me get
Hmm.
a couple of cracks. He's like,
Hmm.
okay. So I went out into the street and Josh is there and there's a couple other people. Next thing I know, there's like at least 10 people that have their phones out
Oh
recording.
yeah, you were recorded by everyone there except for me. I need this video. Do you have the video?
I did, yeah. I just got the video a couple days ago. I'll have to send it over.
Okay.
But yeah, I got two very solid cracks. It's a little bit longer whip than I'm used to.
Hmm.
So I had to kind of figure it out for a second. I'm used to like an 8 to a 10 foot. That was a 12 foot. So I got whip, 2 extra feet of whip to figure out. But that was a pretty cool experience. Um, and
Definitely.
yeah, again, apologies to Kevin.
I always piss off
Won't happen
Kevin. I
again.
think it was just because I was there. You
Yeah,
got in trouble.
I very, very sorry. Won't happen again. Pinky promise. So
And Michael was coming in from Virginia on the train in that moment when that was happening. I think he had just arrived and he said, I saw a video of Trent cracking a whip that somebody posted, and you're like giggling, you're cracking up in it. Like apparently I'm in the video just cackling and egging you on. So I can take a little responsibility for the fact that I was egging you on.
yeah, I'm glad I did it, but and I'm glad also there was never a noise complaint filed because that would have been a whole other can of beans, can of worms open up. But
To be
yeah,
fair, the noise complaint should have been filed for everyone talking outside. So the bullwhip
yeah,
was really not that big of a deal, in my opinion.
yeah. And then also but breaking the sound barrier at 1:30 in the morning. also
Was it 1:30? No, it wasn't that late. It was like midnight. No, no, because the tacos closed. It was like 11:30. You were fine. It wasn't past midnight
I
and you
thought
already
it was a
slept.
lot later.
It wasn't that late. You were fine. You were fine.
Yeah. Because I was just more concerned, like the noise is fine because then it's just one of those you hear the bang and then everybody's looking out. I was just glad nobody walked in the street when I did it
I was
because
afraid
that would
you'd
have been
get
a
in your
lot worse.
car.
And I made sure I was, I look both ways when I cross the street. A lot of people don't now, apparently. But yeah, I've my parents had raised me and my sister with the philosophy of when you're being stupid, be
Hmm.
smart when you're being stupid. So,
Yeah.
in other words, like, okay, if you're gonna crack the whip in the middle of the night on 70th, make sure there's no cars or there's people around you.
Right. Yes.
But
Yes.
which I did, so at least I can pat myself on the back for that one.
Oh man. Well, that night ended great. And then ECAD night was just a whole adventure in itself too. I mean, they had lots of birds. Oh, it was so horrible to watch this. I don't I like the food and the things that get like the crazy stuff. They didn't have spiders this year and I was bummed. But, they cut up a lizard. It was like an iguana. And that was
Oh,
hard to watch. It was
I
dead, but
did
it was still just like, oh, oh.
I did not see the lizard
Yeah,
iguana.
but it was a wild experience. Joe Manganiello, is that how you say it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the was he? I can't remember. Was he the? Because I didn't intend to. Is he the
he's the
MC?
MC. Yeah, he was
Okay.
the MC. And it's such a small world. I know his girlfriend, and I didn't know that she was dating him. And I didn't even know she was there. So after the fact, after we get all our portraits, I see Felix, the photographer, post his portrait with his girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I know her. And then I'm like texting her, like, you were there? And she's like, yeah, I didn't know you were there. So, like, talk about a small world. That's what I
Oh
love about the
yeah.
Explorers Club. I mean, there's just so many people. I didn't know you were here. Like, I didn't, it just, always reminds me what a small world we live in. Just the connections and the people and the things that you find within the club.
Like speaking of which, hold up, of small world things. Oh no, I said Zach just texted me and he's talking about a Disney Imagineer, one of his coworkers, and I thought he had mentioned that it was Joe Rody, like one of
Uh,
his coworkers, but it's another Disney Imagineer. But they had worked one of his coworkers, their
mhm.
grandpa worked on the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland, and he
That
literally
is
just
the best
texted me that.
ride.
As you were talking about small world things, so
That's so funny.
that's
See,
fine.
psychic. I'm psychic over here.
But also, I want to. Did you? No, you were not at pre-CAD.
The fire party.
Yes.
Okay, I was
Yes.
invited. I made the dumb choice. I shouldn't have done this, but I worked rather than going really early on Thursday. I normally go really early on Thursday, and rather than
Mhm.
doing that, I stayed and worked and didn't get in until like 1 in the morning. But I was texting with Greg Williams, who he's on the board with me for the DC chapter of the Explorers Club. And he was like, oh, you should come up here and go to this party. And he's invited me to the party. And I had to, I was like, well, if I can make it up in time, I will. And I knew I was going to regret it. And I didn't make it up in time. And then I get a text from him that just says, I just walked on fire. I was like,
Yeah.
damn it. Are you kidding me? I missed this party and you're firewalking.
Oh yeah. I highly recommend going to that. That was the first year I've ever heard of that, and the first year I've gone to it.
Hmm.
But the it's at Justin Cornell's place, and I also just met Justin this year.
Hmm.
He's a character. He's
Was he the one in the
awesome.
alligator outfit?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Yes.
He is a cool dude with a very cool house as well. I was not expecting ending up in Yonkers that evening, but there we were. And I guess they're starting a new tradition, so they're calling it pre-CAD.
Okay.
So Um, awesome, awesome time. But as we're having a few drinks and talking with people, we start to hear like little chirps of there's a firewalk going to be starting, like a whisper, an echo through the crowds of the people that are there. We're like, okay. And so there's a big fire pit, and Justin's out there tending the fire, and he's like, yeah, we're going to do a firewalk. He's like, I've never done it before, but we're going to do it. So I
No,
guess
no one here was trained in firewalking.
mm-mm. I, I
This
I
is the
guess he
explorers
had
club.
done a good amount of research beforehand, and he's
Okay.
like, you just need a solid flat surface underneath the coals, and the coals need to have been um, basically turned into embers at that point, and so
Right.
you spread them out, and he did it. And he was
He
like,
was the guinea.
he was the guinea pig. He was like,
Okay.
at first, I'm going to do it just to make sure that it is possible and nobody gets hurt. So he did it, and then he opened it up the floor for anybody who wanted to do it. And I did it, and a lot of other people did it. And we have a picture of the fire walking crew, and it was a very fun thing to get a bunch of blisters at the very beginning of the
See, I was
weekend.
gonna say, like, destroying your feet before ECAD weekend just seems like not the greatest idea. It should be a like a Sunday night tradition.
Oh no. Yeah, it was well worth it. It hurt genuinely for that first night, just like stings. It wasn't unbearable,
Mhm.
but after a while I kind of forgot about them, and I think everybody else was fine. I don't hopefully I didn't hear anybody else who had some injuries, so it was all good stuff, but definitely still have some blisters that are still healing, but they're all right. It was well worth it to be able to say that, yeah, I've done a fire walk now. I did it twice, and a couple other people did it twice as well.
Only at the Explorers Club are you like, we're gonna have a pre-party and we're gonna walk
Yeah.
on fire, but no one's done it before, but it's probably fine. I mean, these are the kind of things that happen. Wow. Again, the people that just go for it, right?
hmm
Oh, that's very good. And I guess the power of Prosecco, we've talked about that. The power of
Yeah.
Prosecco, it's you can walk on fire, it's fine. My
Oh, Prosecco.
my power of Prosecco moment, as we have discussed, was after ECAD, when we were all went to some bar like nearby the Glass House. And we're just kind of, decompressing after the evening. And my power of Prosecco was I was a little tipsy enough to kind of yell at Josh Gates for not following me on Instagram and kind of forcing him to follow me on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
The power of Prosecco. Oh, you
I
take you far.
can't believe I did that. But,
Melody, he's gonna listen to this and then just be like, wait a minute.
Josh, if you're listening, you're not that cool. I'm just kidding. No, we love you. I like that Nina specifically is like, he likes being pushed around a little bit. A lot of people just kiss his butt, but no, I gotta like put him in his place because she's wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Nina's
but
awesome.
yes, 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 yes. But it was that, the things that wind up happening. I've had many of those moments where just I can't believe that I'm here right now. And I'm so just complete FOMO about the firewalk.
Oh yeah. Well, there's always next year. I'm
I
sure we were joking. We're like, okay, explorers like to not one up, not so much, but I guess raise the stakes.
Oh yeah.
So we were joking next year. I'm like, okay, he's gonna have let's think here. Is he gonna have like a piranha pit? Are you gonna have to like
Right.
jump
Gotta
into it
one
like
up
Jeremy Wade? You're gonna have to
it.
cross alligators or something, or we'll see.
We poor Michael, he can't like he can't really take off a lot of time. And we tried to have him off ECAD week so we could go like Wednesday night and be there for Thursday and be there for Friday. And I reached out to headquarters. He has to put his time off so far in advance. I mean, like half a year in advance.
Yeah, how was that?
It's a long time.
Yeah,
So I had to I reached out to headquarters and said, when are you, it was before they announced the dates for ECAD. And I had to say, what are the dates for ECAD next year? Because I think it was like December or November. I'm like, I think they announced it in December. So I think it was like November, end of October, something around there. And I asked them when is it going to be so we can make sure we have the right time, off. And like, well, we're not sure yet. I'm like, what do you mean you're not sure yet? Well, every year it's around this time. Do you think it's going to be this weekend? And they're like, yeah, I think it's going to be that weekend. And it's the weekend before it was. And I think so,
Yeah.
but we can't quote, don't quote us on it yet. So we asked off for that weekend and it wound up being the weekend after. So he didn't have off for it. And I was so bummed because I'm like, man, he's never been to a Friday party. So
Yeah.
next year, hopefully we'll get that right week off and then we'll have that he can
You
come
have a
to them.
50-50 shot of guessing it correctly.
I mean, I know. But yeah, it's the event of the year. If you like eating iguanas and pythons and tarantulas and scorpions and
Oh, yeah. I ate a bunch of grubs this year. I had a bowl of them, and not every day do you get to eat bugs, or maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know your diet, but yeah, it's the grubs were interesting. I had grubs, and there was another bowl of stuff. I think they
I know what
were.
you're
Oh,
talking about. It was the black ones and then like the grubby, wormy ones, right?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were on the turtle until they took the turtle away.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Because
my gosh.
normally for a lot of those types of parties, you just expect like a bowl of chips or
Uh-huh.
something, but Explorer Club like to do it differently. They instead of Doritos or nachos or anything, they here's grubs. You're gonna eat some grubs,
Yep.
and you're gonna like it.
Yep. The whatever the black ones were, I had a handful of them, like popcorn, and then was very much disturbed by the aftertaste. It was not a pleasant aftertaste, and I wasn't expecting it to be so bad. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they were. They definitely left a weird aftertaste, and
Mhm.
never in my whole life would I have ever thought of using liquor as a chaser. I
Yeah.
had a gin and tonic. Normally, you have like juice that you use as a chaser, but using liquor as a chaser for some bugs, like ooh, kind of sat in my mouth for a little bit. I was like, ah,
That was that point in
but
the
I kept
night
coming back to
too.
them because I'm like, I want to like them.
Yes, right. You want to be like, this is great, but and I guess again that's another power of Prosecco because
Power of Prosecco.
I couldn't even eat the crickets in Mexico when I was there, but I did eat that grub.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. I gotta start keeping track of all the bugs I eat and then rank them.
My absolute worst, I can tell you, was not this year, but last year at ECAD. They had it's like these big flatworms that were called Moapi worms. And Joe Rody came over to me in Dakota and was like, you have to try those with the hot sauce. It's really good. And I think he was being genuine. And we were like, oh, yeah, well, Joe Rody says we have to try it. We have to try it. And we dipped it in hot sauce and ate it. And it tasted like a moldy peanut. And the texture is as you would expect a moldy peanut to be.
Ooh,
It was horrible. I do the scorpion every year because I feel like that's kind of the easiest one to just go for.
scorpion's good. I
Yeah.
used to have a pet scorpion actually.
No, really?
Yeah, I near where I live in Southern California, there's a lot of scorpions in Angeles National Forest.
Hmm.
And there's one that had like found its way into my house, and I captured him.
Aw.
But I fed him well. I ended up releasing him after like a couple of months. But yeah, so eating scorpions is a little blasphemous for me.
It'd be a no-no
But I
for you.
still, I just you just can't tell my pet scorpion.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
but
Oh.
funny enough, you mentioned the flatworms.
Hmm.
It reminds me of a story when the last day uh in Menorca.
Hmm.
It's maybe like 2 or 3 feet of visibility.
Hmm.
So I'm like up close to what I'm working with. and I'm digging, have my big dive knife, and I'm like scraping a bunch of sediment out, and I see like this little pink thing kind of sticking out of the dirt,
Oh boy.
and I have no idea what it is. I think initially I thought it was a piece of trash or something that just got
Yeah.
swept underneath the dirt. And so I go to grab it and I pick it up and I start pulling it out and I realized, oh, it's bigger. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I pull out like a foot of this thing and it starts moving. I'm like, what am I looking at? And I put it really close to my face and all of a sudden this like web shoots out of it and hits my mask. And so immediately I I put it back on the ground and I have the chapona, the vacuum in my left hand and I suck it into the vacuum so it goes
Yeah.
out back into the ocean. That was a crazy experience. I pop out of the water and I go, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." So I did some research. It's a proboscis worm. It's a ribbon worm.
Ow.
Ribbon worms shoot this thing out of their mouth. It's their stomach, some species, and it's like a Spider-Man web. It's this white thing that attaches to its prey and it injects toxins into their prey, and so they slowly digest it through that. But I had found one in about 15 feet of water, and it was probably about a foot long, and that was really disturbing when I had found it, but it was such a cool thing. I'm like, what? Holy cow! And it had attacked my mask. I was like, whoa,
You'll have
whoa.
nightmares forever.
Oh
I'll have
yeah.
nightmares forever.
In my journal for the trip, I drew a picture of it and I wrote like a whole page just talking about random facts about it.
That's insane. Well, I'm gonna leave everybody with that one.
Yeah.
It's a great story. Thank you so much for joining me today, Trent. Please tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me in your walls. No, I'm kidding. You can find me on Instagram at trent.alves, Alves. That's really all my socials for now. But yeah, come check me out. I will be doing a whole lot more documenting as my career progresses. So if you
Yeah.
want to be a day one fan, there you go.
Yes.
Kidding.
He's going places. I have to say he's going places. You make things
Uh,
happen, and that's a good thing.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you again for joining me, and until next time, everybody, stay weird.